Let me now bring in Dan Perry, former Europe, Africa, and Middle East editor at the Associated Press. Dan, good morning to you. Just as somebody who's worked on the ground covering news in the Middle East, this has got to hit eerily close to home for you. What were your first thoughts when you learned of her kidnapping?
Well, obviously, it's a huge concern, and it's good to hear that the authorities in Iraq are working to secure her release. And obviously, everyone wants to see that release happen as quickly as possible. It's, of course, a reminder that the region is incredibly dangerous for journalists to operate in. Warnings should be taken seriously. And Iraq, in particular, remains not that safe. Especially because the armed forces in Iraq are at this point all mixed up with the PMF, which are essentially Shiite, Iran-backed, partly Iran-funded, and to a certain degree Iran-guided militias, with the U.S. being at war with Iran. Obviously, an American journalist is imperiled by that specific element of the security or insecurity landscape in Iraq. Let's hope she is released very soon.
Yeah, praying for her safety and praying for her family this morning. I just can't imagine the unknowns right now. Dan, NewsNation also learned that U.S. officials had contacted Kittleson multiple times with warnings of the threats against her, including as recently as Monday night, the day before her abduction. What's your read on that? And are those kinds of warnings normal for Western journalists?
They happen. Her name apparently was on a list of, I believe, Khattab Hezbollah, which is part of the PMF, which is allied with Iran. And so when these warnings occur, a journalist doesn't just pack up and walk away necessarily, but they need to be taken extremely, extremely seriously. And all news operations in the Middle East that have a significant size, at least, work with security, have internal security operations, are constantly calibrating to what degree risks can be assumed. But at the end of the day, the simple fact of the matter is, if you're going to cover the news, and the news happens in places that are dangerous, you have no choice but to assume a certain degree of risk, but you have to be careful. You shouldn't do foolish things. You certainly do everything you can to heed warnings, to understand what the dangers are, to take steps that you can take, and to not court danger too much. It's complex. There's no equation that you can follow. But if it turns out that a terrorist group has your particular name on a list, then there are certain measures that you can take, including in extreme cases, to leave the vicinity. I mean, that has happened as well. But the main danger, to be perfectly honest with you, from areas that are lawless and that have militias running around, is subjective. And yeah, I mean, at the AP, we have certainly suffered losses as a consequence of not of the dangers that we were assuming knowingly. We had a staffer killed in the West Bank. We had a staffer killed in Gaza. We had a photographer tragically killed in Afghanistan from a shooter who came from within the Afghani armed forces. So that just illustrates that there is a level at which you can't
Danger
predict.
always persists.
It came from someone who was meant to protect her, basically.
Yeah. Well, very real possibility that the president addresses this later tonight when he addresses the nation. We'll be watching closely. I've got to end it there, but Dan Perry, thank you so much as always for your time. We'll talk to you again soon.